For anybody considering the iPhone 13 mini, one of the top concerns with the phone is its battery life, with it having the smallest battery of the entire lineup at just 2,406 mAh compared to the regular iPhone 13's 3,227. Now, the mini does at least have one thing going for it in terms of battery life in its smaller 5.4-inch display, which technically should consume less power than the larger 6.1-inch display on the iPhone 13. But how much that smaller display will actually help offset the mini's smaller battery capacity? Well, let's find out. Okay, we'll start things off in the phone test, where each device is within equal distance of the mini cell tower that we have installed in the lab, where 60 minutes into it, the iPhone 13 mini actually does better, dropping by just 2 points compared to the regular 13's 3-point drop. This is a really surprising result given that the 13 mini has the smaller battery capacity, but at the same time, iPhones have this tendency of over-reporting on their battery percentages early on, and I suspect that's what's happening here with the mini. So we'll see how it does in the messaging test, where after an hour of texting back and forth, this time the regular iPhone 13 does better, with the two phones now tied as we move on to the email test. So last year, when we tested the iPhone 12 and the 12 mini, in tasks like this email test, where the display was the only real significant factor in draining the battery, the smaller screen on the mini kind of helped make up for its smaller battery. And this year, it's the same thing, with the two phones dropping by an equal 8 percentage points. So things are looking pretty good for the mini as we head into this browser test, but I doubt it's gonna last, since this time it's not just the display that's a major factor, but also that A15 Bionic chip, with both phones being tasked with loading up the same set of websites. And 1 hour later, yeah, the smaller battery on the mini definitely hurt it, with it dropping by 11 points compared to the 9-point drop on the regular iPhone 13. Here on Instagram, we're simply scrolling through the home feed as you would in real life, where 1 hour in, once again, the mini does worse, allowing the regular iPhone 13 to pull 4 points ahead as we move on to the standby test. So in this test, I expect the regular iPhone 13 to do better, since the screens are off for the entire 16 hours. And that's exactly what we see. It's a big difference, with the iPhone 13 pulling another 4 points ahead, improving its total lead to 8 points. And that lead is likely to only grow here in YouTube, where in addition to the screens being calibrated to 200 nits and playing back these videos, the speakers are also calibrated to the same decibel counts, which in theory should drain the smaller battery on the mini faster since it has the same workload. And 1 hour later, the mini does worse once again, dropping by 13 points compared to the 10-point drop on the regular iPhone 13. So not the best performance from the mini in the last few tests in a row. It's now behind by double digits, and after an hour of gaming in Alto's Adventure, it doesn't get any better for the mini, with it falling behind by another 3 percentage points. But it's important to note here that while the 13 mini's battery doesn't look the best compared to the regular iPhone 13 here, when you compare it to last year's iPhone 12 mini, it's a huge improvement, where last year's iPhone 12 mini died just 40 minutes into this maps test, while the 13 mini still has 13% remaining, enough for the mini to finish the maps test with 10% still left to go, which, while a big improvement over last year's 12 mini, it doesn't come close to the regular iPhone 13, with the 13 mini dying just 30 minutes into the Spotify test, while the regular iPhone 13 still has a healthy 17% remaining. So there you have it. The iPhone 13 wins by a big margin of 17 points, which, to put that into perspective, based off the numbers from this test, that's enough to last the iPhone 13 up to an additional 2 hours and 25 minutes of Instagram, or 2 hours and 7 minutes in messaging. But of course, not all usage is equal, with that 17% being enough for the regular iPhone 13 to finish the last 30 minutes in Spotify with 12%, and that 12% lasting for 42 minutes in the super intensive camera/Snapchat test, giving it an impressive 9 hours and 42 minutes of active time compared to the 13 mini's 8 hours and 30 minutes. Anyways, that is it for me in this video. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the very next episode.